The word that comes to mind when I think about how this collaborative could be impactful and effective is empowerment.
It's simple. It's about solidarity. It's about inspiration, the good ideas, the creativity.
Of course, invest in peace building, invest in collaborative thinking. The world will be a better place.
In November 2007, a group of experienced peacemakers from around the world gathered in Geneva to exchange ideas and discuss how best to expand their work globally. As members of the Conflict Transformation Collaborative, they shared insights and identified ways to strengthen their profession and raise awareness about peace building. The formation of this collaborative is an important step toward building a global community of peacemakers.
Well, the Conflict Transformation Collaborative that is meeting today is really an important first step. And it's got these incredible group of people who are working at different levels. You know, some are working globally, others are working regionally, some are with government, some are ex-diplomats, some work with the UN, the others are grassroots workers, others are in education. So this diverse group, which is coming together because there is a congruence of purpose.
Surgeons want to talk to other surgeons. Business people want to talk to other business people. Professors want to talk to other professors. Well, people who are trying to prevent and heal from conflict, they want to talk to other people who do that. And I know that people in Africa have solutions that can be used in Latin America and vice versa. But how are they going to meet each other unless we support them to meet each other?
We need a network, we need a platform to share also in future our experiences, our failures, but also our success stories.
And added onto that now is the sharing and exchange of experiences and knowledge, not in terms of concepts, but in terms of practical application of those concepts in terms of the struggles that we go through every day in our various regions and parts of the world. And that for me is incredible experience. You see, that is not the type of experience you can easily read in books. It's only the type of experience you get because you are interacting and relating to one another like we are having here.
This is not an exclusive club. There are people there who can help and who can offer and who are interested in sharing and supporting what we are doing out here.
You see your own problems and you don't see other people's problems. And you see your own solutions and you don't see other people's solutions. And part of the importance of this idea is that if we can develop some kind of way of keeping up to date with each other, we can learn from each other.
But what is missing, what is lacking, is the sort of institutionalized strategic dialogue.
The challenge nowadays with the type of conflicts that prevail around the world is not something that can be resolved by two foreign officers signing a formal agreement.
And that's why, truly, we need to commit ourselves to prevention. We have to be proactive. We have to be able to clearly, at this point, understand profoundly that the reactive approaches have not helped and have not worked.
So the challenge is how to look at conflicts as opportunities to change.
Because conflict has a very good side to it, and I think that needs to be said, that chaos and change and social transformation leads to many beneficial outcomes.
It's more than just solving a conflict, which is also important, but basically we are talking about trying to change mentalities, to root new thinking in the minds of our decision makers.
If you solve the inequality you experience through violence, the impact of that violence lives on after you've solved the inequality. If you can solve it through non-violence, the impact of doing it in a non-violent way and the relationships you've got live on in the new arrangement, and it makes it much easier for the new arrangement to work.
And I would argue that unless people can begin to understand collaboration with others as a matter of their own self-interest, not as something that you do because you're preaching, because of some principle of inclusivity or democracy, but as a matter of self-interest, I don't think you can make peace sustainable.
A man or a woman who's facing a conflict situation and trying to be a bridge between opposing parties can feel very alone.
You have to be able to also work anonymously, very often behind the scenes. Because if you're too intrusive, the process might collapse. And it's slow, but it's extremely fulfilling.
We are doing a very difficult and frustrating work in some way. And there are no spaces in which we could nourish ourselves.
I'm thinking about some people that I worked with in Somalia that are now hiding and running from all the bombs. You're thinking about people quietly working in the mountains in Lesotho, preventing election violence, or in Guyana where I worked. Brilliant people. They don't get the limelight and nobody counts them, but they are the real heroes. And that's a big question. How do we help them to also feel part of this global community of people working for peace?
I think visibility is really important. I think a lot of the work to be done is just raising awareness.
How we communicate this to a broader community of people, to inspire them to find synergy in what they do and what we do.
Peace and peace building are so much respected as public global goods, as important values. Most people have no clue what a peace builder or what a person working in this field is doing.
Why? Because the CNN factor is lacking. Preventive diplomacy is basically quiet diplomacy. You cannot show through images, TV images, what you have done in preventing a conflict. So politicians don't get attracted.
And part of the responsibility those of us working in this area have, and we're still struggling with, is how to make this sound exciting, how to make it sound interesting, because it is exciting.
If we want to take this thing forward and help governments and the United Nations and rebel groups and other people who are in conflict understand better the value of conflict transformation approaches, we better develop a language and an understanding that will ignite the energies of others to join us in this.
Our work is long-term and should go beyond just building skills. It's about changing institutions and changing the rules of the game so that people are encouraged to work together.
How is power going to be organized? How will it be shared among people? What's the best way for making decisions? Who should be at the table? And you've got to rebuild that consensus on the rules of the game.
It's our responsibility as peace builders and conflict transformation experts to help to identify those opportunities and those windows where there is a new chance for a peace process.
The conversation about how we approach conflict and what works in which part of the world, I think is very, very important. Otherwise, we could each one just be isolated and think that what we are doing is the approach. That's why I think it's crucially important that peace builders like ourselves get together, talk about these issues, and remind ourselves that each one of us just brings one part of the collective wisdom, and that our effectiveness eventually lies in how we can collectively help all the others around us understand better what this conflict transformation field is all about.
That I would like to see everyone who's a practitioner in this field have full access to the tools that are available, be fully resourced, have time for reflection and engagement with other peers, and be part of a network that can make them feel connected and recognized and grounded in a field with their peers around the world. That, I believe, is part of what the vision of this collaborative is and why I care so much about it.